X-Men. Get it!
Hey everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Battle of the Atom. This is your weekly X-Men podcast where we rank every story from A to Z.
I'm Adam.
And I'm the bad boy of X-Men podcasting, Zach Jenkins. Hey, Adam.
Hey, how you doing? I'm excited. We're still in our Attitude Era, right?
We are in our Attitude Era. Can I get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah.
I'm very excited. Thank you for joining us in our Attitude Era. And because we're in our Attitude Era, I figured that we should bring in a special guest who has more attitude than anyone I've met in my life. You may know him from works on Comic-Con.com or ComicsXF. It's Tony Thornley. Tony! Hi.
Hello. How are you guys tonight?
Terrific. Thank you for being here and joining us.
Yes, I'm excited. Finally.
See, okay.
Finally,
listen.
Here we go. There's some bitterness.
Some
There's no
people,
bitterness. I showed up on what, episode 200?
That
some
is true.
people. Wait, did he?
Everybody was on.
It's not that I don't believe you. It's just that was a year and a half, 2.5 years ago.
It was a while ago.
It was a spell, and I don't remember what happened. If you would have said you showed up on episode 300, I was like, did he? Okay. I don't remember who's been. I'll tell you, legitimately, this is behind the scenes for all of our listeners. That's the problem with having a bunch of friends who are all in this space, and some of which have been on the podcast, some of which haven't. Sometimes I sit around and say, wait, is this person just my friend, or have they been on my podcast? I honestly don't know.
So Tony has wanted to come on for a while. He did have a cameo on 200, and we're very excited.
Write down that Tony wanted to come on, and then we forgot to look at that list for some time.
See, we're terrible friends, Tony. So you're here, finally. Thank you for being here.
Yes, of course.
Zach, we're back to a request this week, right?
We are back to a request this week. It's not Tony's request. It is Patreon supporter Paul Frampton. If you want to be like Paul, you can go over to patreon.com/comicsxf. Reach deep into your hearts and your pocketbooks and toss a couple of coins into our coffers at the $5 a month level. You get a suggestion like this, like how Paul said they want us to cover all new X-Men 31 to 36, the crossover with the Ultimate Universe, including Miles Morales.
Man, Ultimate Universe, so hot right now. It's
Earth
invading.
1610 or 6160 or whatever you want to call it.
Oh my god.
It's 1610. 1610.
Is the new Ultimate Universe the same as the old universe? I thought.
Okay, hold on.
No, that's where 6160 comes from. That's the designation of the Ultimate Invasion universe.
Okay.
Is it okay? I want to ask Adam, Tony.
Hi.
I want you guys to play a game, higher or lower.
Oh.
Okay.
It's like Price is Right.
It is. Since it was destroyed in Secret Wars in 2015, how many times has the Ultimate Universe come back?
Twice. Right? Didn't Donny Cates try it?
Whoever gets closest to the pin will win.
I think it's 4.
4?
I think it's 4.
I think Tony's right. Okay, so it's obviously Ultimates. I guess it was Ultimates squared. Was it 100 that they had it at? It was the end of Ewing's Ultimates. It was the end of something that Bendis did, I think, in Ultimate Spider-Man. It was Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
Yes, that's where it was. It also came back in Ultimate Invasion, and I'm trying to remember where that last one was.
The Miles Morales series, like this entire second year of the.
Oh yeah, that's right. Where actually his uncle was Ultimata. Oh, freaking this story.
Man,
sucks.
The Earth 616 Miles is Ultimatum.
That's right. And then Donny Cates tried to bring it back and kind of did, but then didn't.
So wait, is that 5?
So yeah, that's actually
because Donny. Well,
because all of these are just like
it is 5, isn't it?
Yeah, because the other 4 got kind of like dropped, right? And then now Hickman's the real deal, but all the rest of them aren't.
Hickman, with special thanks to Donny Cates, as says in Ultimate Invasion #1.
Yes.
Yeah. Unless this is also Donny Cates.
This may also be the Donny Cates thing, but I think what is to be said is that people keep trying to bring back the Ultimate Universe, even though they did a great job destroying it and keeping around anything that people liked about it. Because that was the rule. It was, hey, is there something you liked about the Ultimate Universe that we don't have over here? Because we'll bring that over.
There was like two things.
It was Miles and his supporting cast.
Right.
End of list. And then Cullen Bunn brought over some X-Men stuff that he liked.
Yeah. Jimmy Hudson
no
ended up over here and still here.
Oh, the Maker. The Maker also came over.
Yes,
Yeah,
the Maker is...
But no one likes him.
No. The Maker sucks.
Wait, hold on. Wait a minute.
You're going to defend the Maker?
Do you not like the Maker?
The Maker is so stupid. Nope. Come on.
I love the Maker. Are you kidding?
Evil Reed Richards with like a xenomorph hat? Come on.
Yes. Hold on. I'm going to ask like Adam. No, Adam, because I know you haven't done this. Tony, have you read Hickman's Ultimate Comics Ultimates? And you still don't like the Maker?
No, not Ultimate Comics Ultimates. I thought you were going to ask Ultimate Invasion. Nope.
This is why. Okay, no, this is why. Go back, read Jonathan Hickman and Hassad Ribick's Ultimate Comics Ultimates, where the Maker rules. Like, sorry, the Maker's great, and anyone who says otherwise needs to read that story that no one read because the New 52 also came out the same week.
Just a spoiler alert for this particular episode, I'm not doing that. And I'll tell you why, because here's my spoiler. The Ultimate Universe sucks. Time and time again, we read these Ultimate stories, and they're not great. They never are great.
And I keep telling you, Adam, I keep saying that there's a small window in there.
Where is the window?
Really interesting. It's exactly when Hickman starts that, and he has Zorn and Zorn run the Celestials and the Deviants.
And you got it. Ultimate Spider-Man the whole time is one of the best series that's ever the best series of this century, easily, at least from the big two.
Not disagreeing about Ultimate Spidey. It's
yes, but it's also kind of its own thing.
Yeah,
it is. It is not as connected to the rest of the Ultimate Universe that was really defined by Mark Miller and his aesthetics at the time. I'm also going to give a hot second that I think the book takes a little bit to get back on its feet after Bagley leaves. But
I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
But that's just a me thing. But anyway, the X-Men go to the Ultimate Universe this time, and I'll give them credit. They spent a good 15 years not crossing over anything with the Ultimate Universe. You had Spider-Man, and then you had Galactus went over to the Ultimate Universe one time.
Yeah, had a snack.
That was pretty much it, right?
Think so.
Until the last 6 to 9 months of before Secret Wars. Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
They had done a pretty solid job of this. So Bendis, knowing that they're getting rid of the Ultimate Universe, does one last hurrah in there, sending his all new X-Men through space and time into the Ultimate Universe to meet up with all of our favorite Ultimate Universe friends. This is Brian Michael Bendis with great art by Mahmoud Assar.
Yeah, Assar is great. Hitting on all cylinders here. And then Gracia is doing colors, right?
Gracia is doing the colors. And
nice.
There's an interesting fact about this book.
Oh, yeah? Oh.
Did you know that the big fight at the end between Doctor Doom and the X-Men was actually a script that Marvel ended up using for tester pages for artists for a very long time?
Really?
So there are a lot of good artists of recent years who have a couple of pages of doing this their way.
Get out.
And I've seen that a few times, and I didn't put together that's why I've seen artists like, I can think right off the top of my head, Phil Seavey. I've seen his version of it, and I know I've seen others. I can't think of any other names at the moment.
Wow.
But yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And is it specifically the Ultimate versions
that
were part of the prompt?
Because Doctor Doom has his goat legs.
Okay. Yep.
And I bet that's probably part of the prompt because they want you to see attention to detail on things.
Well, I mean, the number of characters that Mahmoud is drawing by the time he gets to this last issue is really insane. Because throughout the rest of the arc, the team is split up. So the time displaced 05, Sans Scott, who's off with Corsair at this point in the timeline, get over into the Ultimate Universe, but they get split up. So, he's able to draw maybe one of them at a time, fighting a football team or Mole Man or whatever, until the very end when he has to draw everybody on multiple double page spreads. And it's a lot.
How do you feel about the plot structure of splitting up each member of the cast and letting them have a few pages to accelerate their plot every issue?
I'm fine with some of it. I think that it works better for some characters than others. And the characters that it works well for, obviously, are Jean and gets to hang out with Miles, which is great. It's kind of cool having Laura and Warren hang out with Jimmy Hudson and explore Weapon X and learn out about, how man-made mutants. The one I just mentioned earlier, though, that's the real stinker of the bunch, is that Iceman gets stuck fighting Mole Man in what is it, Las Vegas? I think
It's
it is.
Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta. Sorry. It's really hot there. That part goes on way too long and is not interesting at all.
It's a big justification to have them redraw the splash page or the cover page of Fantastic Four #1, and I can appreciate the energy that would go into doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I don't think it works in general because most of the characters, like, there's not a reason they aren't moving forward either the plot of the overall story or their own personal like arcs in this. And this is a problem I think Bendis had exactly at this time in Guardians of the Galaxy that he was writing, where he does this exact same thing and splits up the Guardians.
Well,
and then brings them all back.
I do remember reading this at the time. First of all, I want to say going back and reading all new is always a delight. I really did love this book. And even though this is one of the not as great arcs, it was still a lot of fun. Bendis is still doing a really good job writing it. I enjoyed it. However, at the time, I do remember that we were coming off Black Vortex.
Nope,
right?
we were going into Black Vortex.
We hadn't gotten to, but we had come off of Trial of Jean Grey. So we'd just come off of a Guardians crossover. Then we were going into Miles crossover. And in my brain, I'm going, great. Bendis just wants to play with all of his toys. And I was a little bit irritated that we were not getting like X-Men proper stuff like we were in the first half of the book. Tony, were you reading this when it was coming out? I know you're a big Spider-Man guy.
I was, but I was not reading any. I've never been an Ultimate reader.
Thank you.
I've gone back and I've
correct.
caught some of it. I actually have not read all of Ultimate Spider-Man. And as big a Spider-Man fan as I am, it was timing wise. I was out on an LDS mission when it picked up steam and it was too hard to come back and catch it up.
Mm-hmm.
Which is odd because I remember at that time, you couldn't walk 5 feet without tripping over the first couple of trades of that book.
Oh, yeah. And I absolutely read the first couple of trades, but it was that next, like,
right,
2 to 4, 5 trades. Like, I didn't even know Ultimate 6 existed until relatively recently. But this, I was reading the Miles book at the time, and I was keeping up with this. And I really enjoyed it because of the Miles of it. I was not reading Ultimate X-Men at all, though. So a lot of it, I was aware of Jimmy Hudson, but otherwise a lot of it I was just completely in the dark for.
Well, good news, because
does Bendis care about these X-Men at all?
I'm not 100% sure. Brian Michael Bendis read the Brian Wood Ultimate X-Men. Which is a shame because Mahmoud Assar does some really good work in that. And I generally like the plot. But no way, no how, because he then has Jean Grey leading these X-Men.
Yeah.
It's like it's a whole thing, and I'm the only person who cares. Like, I get it. I'm the only person who cares about that small chunk of continuity.
It doesn't make a sense, but it also doesn't matter at all, because all Bendis wants to do is to have 2 Jean Greys read each other's mind and freak out, right? We get multiple nods back to that amazing imminent two-page spread. We get
the Miles one is nice. I like it.
Get one of Miles, get one of the 2 Jeans, and you could just kind of tell that, I don't want to use the word coasting, but Bendis he's settled in. He's very comfortable, and he's just ready to just kind of like have some fun with the characters that he likes.
The book doesn't have direction.
No, it doesn't.
No, it goes on way too long. You know, this arc has to be as long as the concurrent arc in Uncanny, right? Because the very beginning of the arc, the Uncanny adults leave for the reading of the last will and testament of Charles Xavier. So
which then goes on way longer
than they expected, right? So, you know, what is this? 6 issues of this?
It's 6. This is a solid 6 issues of very little happening, and I could not tell you what the theme or story of this book is besides let's go have some fun with the ultimate things.
And you know, I think it would have been fine at this length if Bendis had focused on the more interesting things, but there's too much time being spent. Like the Iceman plotline was really only there to establish that mutants were man-made in the Ultimate Universe. That's the only reason that plot line of this story arc even exists. I think 6 issues would have worked if Bendis had focused on the more interesting parts of it. And like the Bobby plot line is completely the same as the Warren and Laura plot line, because once they reunite, they find out that the mutants were man-made then, making that whole Bobby plotline redundant because it's much more interesting from the Laura and Warren side.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just an exposition tool where, like, I think the Gene and Miles, even though that's the bulk of the first 3 issues of it, there could have been some more interesting stuff done there. And the Hank and Latveria storyline is so interesting, and it's barely touched on until like the 3rd issue of the story arc.
It is very interesting, but I'm going to say, as the late Ultimate Universe pedant that I am, this is a very confusing interpretation of Doctor Doom, specifically one, how Doctor Doom died in Ultimatum and then didn't die and came back in Ultimate FF. That was the Ultimate Future Foundation, which y'all know who was the members of the Ultimate Future Foundation?
I do not.
I love this. It's so random.
It's Iron Man, Invisible Woman, Falcon, and the Machine Man.
Oh, okay.
Oh, but Machine Man is Danny Ketch.
Oh, what? Okay.
Like the other Ghost Rider? Like Ghost Rider, I guess Ghost Rider 3, but really Ghost Rider 2, because no one cares about Old West Ghost Rider.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
Doom was a good guy in that series, and then it doesn't matter.
This Doom is basically 616 Doom in a different universe. That's
He's just
all
regular
he is.
Doom.
He's just regular old Doom.
They make fun of his name, like Victor Von Dame? Von Damme?
Yeah.
Why? Just call him Dr. Doom, you losers.
It is funny that his name is Van Damme. And I agree, Tony, there is like a story to be mined there for Hank being used for, you know, nefarious purposes. But we don't get into it because we have to get to the fist fight and we have to solve it. We never mentioned how
what did they call? Hold on, because now I have to know. I have to remember. What were they going to call Doom in the Josh Trank Fantastic Four movie? What were they originally going to call him?
Oh, they weren't going to call him?
Because it wasn't going to be Von Doom. It was going to be something else. And he was going to be a hacker.
I'm Googling this now because I remember this. I had forgotten, but I remember.
Oh, it was going to be Victor Domashev. And everyone said, that's stupid. It's Dr. Doom.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
It super matters. Adam, please tell me you've watched the bad Fantastic Four movie. Not the super bad one. The bad one. They're all bad. There's never been a good Fantastic Four movie, and there never will be. There's never been a good movie with Fantastic Four characters.
We can make it happen.
Yeah, there was.
Sure. Listen, theoretically, could...
Hold on. What's one good movie with Fantastic Four characters? And if you say Incredibles, we're going to fight about a different thing.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is a Fantastic Four movie, and you cannot change my mind about that.
Is that a good movie?
Okay,
though, Tony?
but that's not a good movie.
Is it?
It's a bad movie. That movie sucked.
It's the best Fantastic Four movie so far, though.
Interesting. I like this theory.
They're still making... I'll concede you that point. Still a bad movie. Still wasn't good.
I'm not.
Was still
I'm not
Pretty
interested
weird.
in having a referendum on this because we'll see what happens. The Marvel Universe, cinematic universe does not seem to be very popular right now. So
all I'm saying, the Fantastic Four movie that they made for legal reasons was bad. The first Fantastic Four movie was bad. Rise of the Silver Surfer, bad, but does have Doom on the surfboard, so does get about as close as you can get. The Josh Trank one, bad. The Doctor Strange movie that had Jim from The Office, bad. They've not made a good one yet.
It's okay. I'm not worrying about it. I'm not losing sleep because this is an X-Men podcast. And what do we do on this podcast, Zach?
Oh, we rank stories from best to worst.
We do. And so I think...
Thank you for keeping us focused, Adam.
We should take a crack at ranking this on our big old list.
Tony, would you like to guess how many stories are on our big old list? If you go to the website, it's not updated, so...
Take a guess, though. I'm curious if you'd know. You pick a number.
I want to say on the road to 400 here, but I feel like that's way too
low.
Bud, we're on the road to 800. We're at 795. I can see that mile marker.
400 is number of episodes, not number of stories. My gosh.
And even that, we're only on 307 right here. We got a while till then. How are you not keeping track of every last minute detail of this list that, frankly, only exists in people's heads as a concept more than anything else? Like, I have it written down.
Yeah.
Adam has the same file.
Mm-hmm.
But no one's auditing this list. To be fair, we could move. I could say, actually, What If Magic is number 35 instead of number 36 right now, and no one would call me on it. None of you would know the difference.
No one's playing the home game.
We do have 795 stories on this list, with the best story being the House of X Powers of 10. Number 100 being Wolverine 48 to 50, the Shiva scenario. Number 200 being All New Wolverine, Enemy of the State 2. Number 300 being Generations, Phoenix and Jean Grey. Number 400 being Excalibur 62 to 65, Return of the Warpies. Number 500 being X-Men No More Humans, OGN. Number 600 being that time in Defenders where Magneto got turned into a baby. Number 700 is Prophet and Cable. Mm-hmm. You know, the one we just talked about.
Yep.
In 795, the worst X-Men story of all time is, say it with me, 2099 World of Tomorrow.
World of Tomorrow. There you go.
Listen, so hot right now. And by the way, we haven't said it, but we said in the Miles episode, or the Bendis episode, Miles Morales, perfect, great child. Everyone loves him. He's my kid, Spider-Man. Love that guy.
Yeah.
I don't think this is his best showing.
I still enjoyed this, and I think that we are probably in, if we're not in the 300s, we're in like the top half of the 400s, I think.
That's about where I was looking. I'm going to say this is probably a better story than New Avengers The Collective. Tony, I assume you're aware of New Avengers The Collective?
I read it as it was coming out.
Would you say this is better or worse than that?
Yeah, it's better. It's definitely better.
Is it better than Schism at 397?
Yeah, this is better. This is better than Schism.
Yeah, it's definitely better than Schism.
Adam, I'm going to say at 377 is Amazing Nightcrawler.
Oh, interesting.
What are your thoughts, Adam, on if this is better or worse than Amazing Nightcrawler?
See, I would go higher.
And be careful, people are listening.
Yes, I have my own opinions, and I think this this would be better than that for me. I would go higher, actually. Like, I'm looking closer to like the 350 realm, like the first arc of X-Men Legacy.
The first arc of X-Men Legacy is a little messy, but it reaches for a lot more than this story. So I would give the nod to Legacy.
Yeah, I don't know if this is it. Like, I wouldn't put this above 335, which is Bizarre Adventures 27, I think. Or
no, yeah, I'd look.
Like 333 is Uncanny 600. I think that's better than this.
I've got one, Adam. I've got one for you to think of.
Okay.
Is this better or worse than Astonishing X-Men 13 through 17 Until Our Hearts Stop by Rosenberg and Land?
Oh.
I would take Asrar over Land any day.
Yeah.
I like this more than that, and I like this more than the Axis arc of Deadpool, but do I like it more than the Halloween Jack arc of X-Men 2099?
Adam, I kind of think the Halloween Jack arc's better.
I'm kind of
Halloween Jack was in a comic this year.
I know.
Again, me and Steve Orlando on the same wavelength on a lot of things. Not everything, But on that weird specific wavelength of the dumb stuff we like, we're in sync, baby.
I think we're in the right spot on the list. So this is going to be our what? Our new 360?
New 360. It's Meet Miles from the Ultimate or the all new X-Men.
Tony, I love that you've put into the chat that you listen almost every week. No one's asking you to keep, an Excel spreadsheet on. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's true. I think I'm explicitly asking this.
For ourselves, but not for
for everyone.
We do have this list posted on a website somewhere, right?
We do.
Yeah, but somebody has to update it, and somebody has gotten busy, and the sheer weight of responsibility is crushing down on him at all times.
It does not get updated every week, so that's fine.
No, it gets updated every 3 months when I say, "Oh crap," and I dedicate like an hour to doing it.
All right.
If anyone wants to, then I'll make a tweet about it. That's how you know the list is updated, because I said, "Oh shoot, someone should tweet out that the list is updated," but not say that we waited this long.
So we've started with some Bendis stuff that has some Ultimate stuff. Next, we're going to go to some Bendis stuff that's also Ultimate stuff. This is Ultimate X-Men 40 to 45. This is written by Brian Michael Bendis and illustrated by, is this Finch?
It's David Finch.
David Finch, yeah.
I'm going to start here.
Yeah.
What's our feelings on David Finch?
I mean, ambivalent.
I would agree. I think he's competent at worst and sometimes does some really good stuff.
I kind of like Finch a lot, actually.
Oh, okay.
He's one of those guys. He's one of those guys who, I can see all of the flaws, and anytime someone would complain about his weird, scrunchy faces, because he has the evolution of that Rob Liefeld face. You know the one I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, we talked a lot about that last week.
He's got his own version of that Rob Liefeld face.
Yeah.
That Cyclops in this arc especially gets.
He has kind of a Silvestri quality to some of the things that he does too.
That's the kind of stuff that I like. Like there is a part of it that really clicks for me.
He's a top cow guy.
That makes sense. I don't know what Finch is doing. Last I know, he was doing Wonder Woman, and that was a while ago.
This is called New Mutants because some new mutants are being recruited to the team, but they're also being recruited to another team that is being...
There's a new team of New Mutants.
Yes, that is being run by none other than Ultimate Emma Frost.
But you're getting ahead of yourself here, Adam. Because
you're getting ahead of yourself, Adam.
It's a 6-issue arc. It takes 4 issues before Emma Frost shows up.
It does. However, as I was reading this as a whole and trying to put together, because I always think of, when they say New Mutants, I always think of this arc as like the last couple of issues with the Emma Frost stuff and recruiting a new team. But as I was reading through this, I understood what they were doing, because, it starts out introducing Angel. It has Ultimate X-Men 41, which is
Wolverine kills a kid in a cave.
Yeah, that's the one.
I like that one.
I like it in concept, and I think it works as a tight, short story that could never work in 616 stuff, because that would be a bridge too far.
Yep.
And would be a complete betrayal of like what the X-Men do. In here, it generally works, but I have some resentment for this story for all the times I had to hear people talk about how this was like the most important, deep story all time. It's like, I get it. It's
Is
a
it?
little.
Wolverine kills a kid is deep.
There was a lot of people talked about
The
this.
cave might be deep. I don't know.
A lot of people talked about this story for a long time. That's just like the thing. So I have like a little bit of a reaction, but in general, as a tight 1-issue story, I think that it works in isolation. I think it falls apart when you start to think about what the implications of Wolverine murdering a kid because he's an inconvenient political piece is. Now, I do think it helps emphasize the point, because the first issue of this is people getting religious fever because there's an angel mutant. And what does that mean about most of Western religion?
Does that work for you guys?
I think it works. It partly works the second time it comes around. The first time it comes around, it's Rogue sitting in the middle of a barbecue going, look, we have an actual demon. And she keeps pointing at Nightcrawler, and Nightcrawler's going, what the hell are you talking about? But the second time, when Warren, when they get into the people that have come because they heard about it, because Beast leaked it in a chat room.
Oh, right.
Which is the most 2005 thing ever.
I love. Keep going, but I want to get
Yes.
back to Ultimate Beast.
Yes, 2003, not 2005, 2003. That time when Storm and Warren have the chat, and Storm goes, "You're stunning, you're beautiful. Of course, these people are going to go into religious fervor about you." And then he touches down in front of this group at the gates of the mansion. I think that time it works. I think the first time in the issue where Rogue tries to wax poetic about it doesn't work at all.
Okay, I think that's an intentional choice because Rogue's kind of dumb.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Love her to death. We've talked about it on this show. Rogue's kind of dumb.
So we've had Bendis on the show recently. And
yes,
we did just talk about how much I love the all new and how I feel like even if it's a lesser arc, I'm still enjoying what he's putting down. At this point in Bendis's writing career, when Tony says that, they're waxing poetic, they're doing so at any possible moment. And it is very ill-conceived.
You think it's ill-conceived?
So many conversations here that could have been 1 to 2 panels that are one.
Wait, you think there's a little bit of back and forth on it?
Too much back and forth.
What's too much back and forth?
I do think there's some back and forth here.
Is there some back and forth?
Much back and forth.
I think there might be.
Do you wonder if Brian Michael Bendis may have watched Glengarry Glen Ross a couple of times?
And Gilmore Girls?
Gilmore Girls, yes.
His admitted favorite television show of all time.
He's a chatty Cathy.
Honestly, I wish more people wrote dialogue like Bendis does because it feels a lot more realistic than some of the big proclamations that you get in comics these days.
It can. And I think when Bendis is doing it correctly, like he does in All New, I think it works. I think here it just comes across as talking and talking and talking for no real point. There is no reason for the conversations to go on as long as they do. And we get it over and over again. Storm and Angel have 3 pages worth of dialogue. Nick Fury shows up and has like half a page of dialogue. Emma Frost shows up and the president. And, this is another thing that just does not work about the Ultimate Universe. I understand that one of Miller's whole things is to get in, and this critique of like post 9/11 America and talk about, the Bush administration, et cetera. All of that stuff, when you put it in your comics, it ages like milk. And anything that is satirical about it is really not interesting when you go back to it.
So
it drives me. It does not work here. Like the fact that there's so much in the Oval Office, in the Situation Room, I hate it.
I can understand that. However, I would say in my mind, I personally am not bothered by something aging poorly in terms of, like the topic. There's some things where like content, we say it aged poorly, but really it was bad from the start. This is something that was relevant for that moment. And I think it is an interesting insight to that moment, even if it doesn't provide those same insights now 30 or 20 years later, when pretty much everything that could be said about the Bush administration, the post 9/11 world has been said, or at least everything that an X-Men comic was going to say about it. So I think you're hearing a lot of things over and over again. But what I think works about this arc for me is that Bendis is taking a very mature point of, okay, wait, if mutants are going to be celebrities in this world and we are going to have them be a stand-in for a minority group or whatever the mutant metaphor is going to be for this, how does that work in the gross world of politics? Because that's all this arc is about, is what mutants are going to be politically acceptable and what aren't. And the crux of this arc is Charles Xavier is not politically acceptable because there is concern that he would just wipe your mind and say, prevent nuclear war from ever happening. Just as a example of things Charles Xavier could or couldn't do.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. I just think you could expedite this and tell the story in 3 issues, right, Tony?
Okay, but that's every Bendis story.
And so I think the story generally, when it works really well. Like the opening scene is probably one of the best X-Men scenes that Bendis has written, when there's a negotiation going on with the Worthington estate to take Warren to the school.
Mhm.
Oh,
I think
that is
there are
fun.
moments in the Situation Room that work really well. Not all of it. I mean, there's one entire issue that's entirely in the Situation Room that you could cut 2/3 of that. And
Well, I think
get the
one
same
reason why
progress.
the Situation Room doesn't work is because Marvel doesn't want to draw actual George Bush,
Mhm.
and
or
then it
actual
doesn't.
Donald Rumsfeld.
Right, so that all of the Situation Room things are in shadow, and you don't get some of the character acting that you really need to sell some of that, especially with talking head stuff. You can't sell talking heads if it's mostly shadowed talking heads. Like that
Yep.
is a intersection of corporate comics, even at a time when Marvel was a heck of a lot more willing to rock the boat, but the limitations of corporate comics coming in with the needs of the art form, and it fails this story in that. I'll fully agree with that.
Yeah, but even some moments like when the president asks Emma to show him their power, that goes on for 8 or 9 panels.
Mhm.
What's your power? What do you mean? What's my power? What do you do? Show me. Show you. Will it hurt me? No. Will you get in my brain? No. All right then. Show me something. That's a full page wasted on completely and there are essays written about Bendis and decompression. I get it. It was at a time that yes, he was very decompressed. But there are also times that even the shadowed stuff does work. At the end when the Joint Chiefs of Staff and whoever the other guy is have realized that they screwed up royally and
Mhm.
Fury's coming after, they're both in shadow, and there was no reason for the Joint Chiefs of Staff to be someone we recognize. You know, he didn't need to.
I honestly do not remember who the Joint Chiefs of Staff was in 2003.
I don't know who the current Joint Chiefs of Staff are.
That's because we aren't currently. Are we currently in a war? I think we're done with all of those at the moment. All of the official ones.
Yeah.
I guess Iraq and Afghanistan were never official wars either, so that kind of throws this off. But in general, our military action has died down.
Yeah. So
regardless,
I think this is a better arc than it should be, but I think it really has some serious issues with decompression. It's Bendis at his worst when it comes to decompressed comics, in my opinion. But the highs of it are really, really strong highs. And I really, really like that about this arc.
By the way, in 2003, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff was Richard Myers.
Oh, very
who
exciting.
I could not pick out of the lineup to save me.
I could not either, but figured I would let us know.
The one thing I do like about this is at the end of the arc, Emma's team immediately, there's a Sentinel that appears, and Emma doesn't even have time to really have her own team before like Beast dies. Which is like a very Emma thing to happen, is that her like
immediately
one of her students
dies,
and the other ones are all like running and injured, and she has to, so there's a bit of irony in that. But overall, I did not enjoy reading this with the same life and excitement that I did with the All New. So I would definitely like this more.
I would say one thing I want to say about Ultimate Beast, who shows up in here.
Yes.
Ultimate Beast is the prototype for what Bendis does with Beast, which really sets the stage for where Beast is in current comics, because Bendis taps into how petty and how like small Beast feels at all times, and wants to make himself seem bigger and more braggadocious and make other people feel small. Like that is a big thing for him. He has a lot of doubt about that and wants to be right about everything and thinks he is sometimes. And that, I think that really works. It worked. The chat room stuff where he's leaking things.
That's funny
about the X-Men. It's funny. And then oddly present to a time where, military secrets about the war in Ukraine are getting leaked on Discord from army guys who just want a little bit of internet clout, who are posting through it.
Yep.
That's a good beat for Beast. I like the concept of Punk Dazzler for the Ultimate Universe.
Oh, we didn't even talk about Punk Dazzler. Yeah.
There's not much to talk about.
No. There's Grolixes. That's the extent of Punk Dazzler. Is there's a bunch of Grolixes instead of actual swears, and that's all there is to her in this arc.
I think if you're gonna do like, here's the thing, Ultimate Dazzler should never have been like a core character in the book. So if you're just gonna have Ultimate Dazzler pop up, that's a fun way to say, and this is the Ultimate Universe spin on it.
Yeah,
It's fine.
Because it's either that or have her be Britney Spears, and no one wants that.
It's just
Like
Especially
nothing
not
against
today.
Britney Spears, but no one wants Britney Spears Dazzler. That would be
no, we already
Not
saw
what
that
I want.
in Joe Casey's, Uncanny Run.
we did.
So,
See, and no one liked that, Rob.
no. So
Where should we rank it?
I'm saying this is going lower than the all new arc. I did not enjoy this nearly as much.
I do have to throw in, I think it is better than probably 90% of Miller's Ultimate X-Men, though.
Interesting. See, now that we do have some Ultimate X-Men that are much higher than where we were, and
We have World Tour at 101, which
Yeah.
is the highest, and Tomorrow People at 130.
yeah,
And I
don't
would
think
say, yeah, those are the two arcs that are better than this by
Okay.
far. I think the rest
Yep.
of Miller's Ultimate, it doesn't come close to this.
I would say this is worse than World War X. The second time we've brought up World War X on this podcast
which is at what?
today, 254.
Oh yeah. No, I stand. I think we're probably in the 400s here. Is this better?
Is it better than it? At 503 is the Tempest, which is the next arc of this,
Mhm.
which is the one where Charles Xavier gets thrown down some stairs.
Oh wow. You know what? I think this is better than that, Zach. I mean,
This
that,
is probably better than the Tempest.
that has the stairs moment, but that's not a good.
The
arc.
stairs moment isn't good. It's just I'm never going to stop thinking about it.
Does Brandon Peterson draw Scott Summers as Mark McGrath? Because Dave Finch does the entire arc.
Oh, that's
Dave
true.
Finch.
Yeah.
I cannot get behind the Scott Summers in this book.
For
That's the worst thing.
Frosted tips and inconsistent goatee, Scott Summers.
those weird Oakleys that he's got.
Yes.
Oh wow.
I mean, it's a very 2003 look. It's just when the youths have started to like cycle back around to fashion. Ain't no one doing guys looks in 2003. That one's never coming back,
No.
and it shouldn't.
I think we're lower than that time that Nightcrawler went to Crystal Saga Crystar. Crystal
Saga
Warrior.
of Crystar, the Crystal Warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not as good as that. Is it better or worse than Girl School from Heck?
I think it's worse.
I would say
We're in the
yes,
right neighborhood.
we are
I think so,
above
too.
Mutant X 1 through 3.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd agree
Okay.
with that.
Who has strong feelings about X-Men First Class Volume 2, Number 1, The Job Shadow?
I think this is better than that for the reasons that Tony highlighted. There are some good character moments here.
Tony, did you have strong feelings about X-Men First Class Volume 2, Number 1?
Not at all. And honestly, except for the Cyclops design the entire time, I think Dave Finch's art is really good
Oh,
throughout this. I do like it.
okay.
Here's what happened. Dave Finch started drawing got Batman money for a while, and hey, I bet Dave Finch draws a pretty good Batman.
I bet. Yeah.
Yep, he does. So anyways, directly above that X-Men First Class issue.
Oh, we already did that.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
all done. We had the Excel open. Sorry, Tony. Hey, someone's going to be like, oh, they're using Excel. Why don't they use Google Sheets? It's because I work in like a business, so I use Excel all the time. I'm sorry.
There's nothing
They
wrong.
pay for
It's a
it.
really good Excel spreadsheet. All right.
People get really weird about Excel, and maybe I use Google Docs all the time. It's great, but
people do
I'm
know
using
that
the-
Excel has more functionality, right?
no, because a lot of people don't actually use Excel in any sort of
I know.
deeper function where you actually need to compile a lot of data
Hmm.
and do a lot of junk quickly. And it doesn't matter because Excel does not feature prominently in Ultimate Spider-Man Annual Number 1 by Brian Michael Bendis with pencils by Mark Brooks.
Inks by Jamie Mendoza.
And Scott Hanna.
Yes, and Scott Hanna.
Great cover. That's a Mark Bagley cover.
It is.
That's an Alan Davis looking Mark Bagley right there.
Got the hair. Did a nice job there.
That's
You
the
know?
thing.
It's got some really good colors on it too. Richard Isanove had
Mm.
like a moment between 03 and 06, 07, and he did some really amazing colors.
It's hitting pretty good here. Like, that's a good cover. And I'm a sucker for the weird Ultimate Universe widescreen bars
Oh,
that you get.
yeah.
That's what those are, aren't they? The widescreen bars.
Yes.
Is that what they're supposed to be?
I don't know if they're supposed to be.
It's not what they're supposed to be.
Oh.
They're supposed to be like unique branding because it changes every time they relaunch the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, but they should keep the widescreen bars because
Yeah.
now, like,
How come Ultimate Invasion didn't have them?
But they're
Honestly.
vertical, Zach, so they're not widescreen bars. They're vertical.
yeah, but if you turn the comic, those are widescreen bars.
I guess.
I think they're supposed to be 3D to create a 3D effect because every one
I
of
think
these
they are
covers
too.
has something hanging over the bars.
I think that was the original intention,
That's
especially with
pretty
those truly atrocious original Ultimate Comics covers.
Yes.
Who did the first Ultimate Spider-Man cover is just a terrible image.
I think it's Mark Bagley that someone then redrew in a computer.
It's so insane. I constantly think that's a Joe Quesada.
Is it Quesada?
Is it really?
Wow.
That's a Joey Q.
It definitely looks painted over though, like Tony was saying.
Yeah.
Oh no. It is not a pure cover. Anyway, Joe Quesada does not appear in this except for as editor-in-chief. This is the story about Spider-Man wanting to go on a date.
No, that is incorrect.
Well, ending up going on a date.
That is correct. But the person that wants to go on the date is none other than Ultimate Kitty Pryde.
So
Yeah.
I love the concept of this whole thing because this is one of the points that I was reading Ultimate Spider-Man, and Mary Jane kept dashing into danger like an idiot.
Okay.
And so Peter broke up with her.
Mhm.
Power and responsibility stuff. He broke it off with her because she kept just getting into the middle of it, and he couldn't bear the thought. She had like one near miss too many that a bad guy grabbed her or something like that. And I'm sure I say bad guy, it was Norman Osborn. I don't remember for sure that it was Norman Osborn, but it was Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
And just one time too many. And Peter, it was like this big momentous issue where Peter and MJ broke up. And I think this is like 6 to 12 months later, real world time. Like I think there's a few arcs after that.
I'm going through Ultimate. It's been a while since I've looked through Ultimate Spider-Man. There's the Warriors arc. Yeah, there is that long Warriors arc where he teams up with like Moon Knight and Elektra and Black Cat and all that to fight Kingpin.
And Moon Knight is one of the few. Moon Knight and Daredevil, the two Ultimate characters who do not get any sort of Ultimate redesign because their original designs are just so good.
Moon Knight gets a bit.
It's
of
a tweak.
one.
It's a tweak. It's not a redesign.
He gets his hood taken.
It's a tweak.
His hood's down. That's
Yes.
what's happening with Moon Knight. He doesn't have the hood on. He
I
has
think
the
we
hood
need
down.
to be clear, though, that the vast majority of the Ultimate versions really they're not that dissimilar from their original
they're not.
counterparts.
Oh, especially the second tier.
Like,
the
come
second
on.
tier ones.
Like, the X-Men are still the X-Men.
Yep. So anyways, but I just love this concept because Peter Parker with another superhero has not been done enough. And that's where this goes, because he's dated other superpowered people. Everyone knows Black Cat is like his number 3 greatest love interest. I almost said number 2 because I forgot about Gwen Stacy. Number 3.
I am not 70 years old, so I don't care about Peter and Gwen dating.
I read Spider-Man Blue. That's the only reason I care about Peter and Gwen Stacy.
Okay, yes, but hold on. How old's Jeff Loeb right now?
True. So anyways, I love the idea, but 616 Peter has dated like Mockingbird. And that's it. And at that point, like
He went on a bad date with Ms. Marvel once.
Captain Marvel.
No, she was Ms. Marvel at the time.
She was Miss Marvel at the time, but I just
We got to
wanted to make sure to
disambiguate
distinguish
because of the
it was
teenagers.
Carol.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Good call. Good
Yes.
call, Tony.
And so this does the whole idea of Peter dating a superhero so well that it's one of those that it's like, okay, I get at the time this couldn't blend over into the 616 universe because Peter and MJ were married at this time still. But why, ever since there's been the editorial preference, has the only superhero he's dated been Mockingbird, and that was when Dan Slott coasted for the last year and a half of his run.
That's because all Spider-Man fans. Here's the thing, and Tony, I say this with love.
And I know what you're about to say, and I don't disagree with you, but go on.
Spider-Man fans are the worst and yells so much about Mary Jane so much all the time that anytime that you have anything that doesn't have that in a story about these fictional people, they get very, very mad. So I assume anyone who tries it gets summarily slapped down and said, this is a bad idea. You're messing with the wrong people.
And I think Dan Slott at the best part of his run could have done it and done it without the backlash. But yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So,
oh no, wait. What's Carly Cooper up to nowadays? Does she have superpowers? I bet she does.
She did for a while. I don't know if she still does.
Was she a Venom?
She was a goblin. She was a goblin for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it was one of them.
This is great because there's parallel thoughts and dialogue between the two. And then Kitty just works up the guts to call him because Jean Grey scraped Peter Parker's phone number. Or no. She scraped his identity when all of the Wolverine jump the shark thing happened.
Okay, to be fair.
Kitty called information to get his phone number, which is, again, so 2003, 2004.
It's great. And they're cute. They're a cute couple. It is a fun twist. And I do think that she becomes a good cast member for Ultimate Peter Parker for the longest time. Especially because, frankly, Ultimate X-Men was a little busy. They had a lot going on. Yep. Maybe Bendis can take one of his favorite characters and throw her into this book.
Well, we've already established that Bendis loves crossing over his characters between his books.
Loves it.
So we're seeing that happen here. You just heard me belly aching in the last story about the decompressed conversations. Here, I think it absolutely works.
It's good dialogue.
There is this really great 4-page thing where it's the phone call of Kitty actually calling, 2-page spread of, the two of them having their conversation. It's kind of jilted and uncomfortable, but also like, wow, this is great. And then you get this great, page afterwards where both of them are just kind of silently enjoying the moment after they hang up. It feels genuine. It feels based in real human emotion, where a lot of what we were seeing in that last arc did not. I really enjoyed this.
Where I said in some places, I think I said this, in some places that previous arc was Bendis at his worst. This very similar dialogue cadences, very similar methods of speaking back and forth. But it works so well because it feels like teenagers Twitter-pated with each other and in love with each other.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I enjoyed this a lot more. I think the art has a lot to do with that too. Mark Brooks is bringing kind of a cartoony sensibility to this that I think it works in the style of Ultimate Spider-Man and works with Mark Bagley's style so that it doesn't feel out of place in terms of the storytelling of this book. So I think this works in a lot of the ways that the last arc didn't. And it shows an evolution of what Bendis is capable of. In terms of having these drawn out conversations and whether they feel natural or not.
I think the biggest problem with this is that there's some weird, slightly outdated slang, and then some Yiddish, I think, that I don't recognize. I think it's Yiddish. I'm not entirely sure. It might have been weird slang that I've also never heard of before.
It was definitely Yiddish because this was Bendis writing Spider-Man, and
that's true.
Kitty Pryde.
That's true. And then that second to last page where it said, where the email, and I sent this to Adam before we recorded, where it said, "We made Yahoo," and my brain has been so disconnected because Yahoo has not existed as an entity for me outside of my email address for years, that I just went, is that like a 2004 version of We Made Whoopi, but G-rated? Like, what? No. And then I was like, oh, wait, Yahoo, the news service. Oh, okay.
But I still know people who use Yahoo News because they've been using it every single day.
My goodness.
They are just used to it. By the way, Yahoo News still going on. They do want to know what Americans think about recent SCOTUS decisions.
Oh, how nice of Yahoo News to be up on what's going on.
And Also, another thing that dates this, Napoleon Dynamite cameo.
Oh,
Did the two of
yeah.
you catch that?
There's a vote for Pedro t-shirt. Right?
It is,
and it's John Heater. It's John Heater wearing the vote for Pedro.
Y'all, I don't know if you were in high school during 2004, but I can tell you very explicitly that shirt was around. There were people
Zach,
wearing it.
You have to remember, that's the area that I'm from. It
Right.
Yeah. This is like Tony Thornley, like Napoleon Dynamite was basically what my small town that I was raised in was like. And the small town that it's set in was only 30 minutes away. I have family still living there.
Amazing.
Yes.
So you're saying...
Are they bitter about that movie?
Yeah.
Oh, they embraced it. They love it.
Oh, good.
Good for them.
They wake up to canned heat and they go to the polls and vote for Pedro as a write-in. I like that.
I did watch Napoleon Dynamite within the last 6 months. Me and my wife put it on, and we were like, actually, you know what? No, this is pretty good.
I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It actually
I like it. There's someone listening right now going, I hate that movie.
Oh, because so I believe it was Netflix when they were starting their recommendations, like trying to build their algorithm for what people like.
Mm-hmm.
Napoleon Dynamite specifically gave them a huge amount of trouble because it was such a polarizing love it or hate it movie.
Oh.
And there was not a great correlation between if you love this, you will love Napoleon Dynamite. It very much was an outlier in everything they were trying to do.
That's really funny. Yeah. They couldn't figure it out. So I definitely like this more than the Ultimate run, but I don't know if it's as good as the all new. What are we thinking?
I would say this is probably the best we've talked about tonight.
I think it's the best one we talked about.
Okay, all right. Then that means that we are going up to...
We're above 360.
Yeah. All right, well, how high do we want to go here, guys?
This is not as good. So at 334, we have Germ-Free Generation in New X-Men, and then there's some other stuff right there. This is not as good as that.
How about X-Force?
I think we have the right realm.
X-Force -1, Zach. I know you're a big fan of that. Better or worse?
I am a big fan of X-Force -1.
Better or worse?
It's worse than X-Force -1.
Mm-hmm.
Better than 340, which is U.S. Avengers 10 through 12 Cannonball Run.
Okay. All right.
I don't know how do you feel? I think I know what the answer should be, but I just need to ask it for posterity. How do you feel compared to Uncanny X-Men 114 to 116 to Save the Savage Land?
Tony, that's a John Byrne arc. What do you think? Better or worse?
That's a Claremont Byrne I haven't read yet, so I couldn't say.
I would give
Tony, I got to tell you, I keep giving you recommendations. Also, that one's pretty good.
yeah. That's on the to be read. That is definitely on the to be read.
I don't have complicated feelings about John Byrne. I think he kind of sucks as a dude. Drew some really pretty comics for a while.
It's true.
That is very true.
I hold both truths as self-evident.
I would say, as a piece of writing especially, and this is no shade to Mark Brooks, I think that this is a better story than that's Savage Land. What do you think, Zach?
Fine, we can put it under X-Force -1. I got what I wanted out of this.
All right, great. So this is our new 339, and
this is 339.
I think we did a nice job. You know,
Peter and Kitty go on a date. It's great. People are like, Bendis has Kitty date all these people. Nah, Bendis just has Kitty in all his books.
That's true. That's true.
And he has all of his characters date other people. Like, this is just a thing that happens.
He writes them as human beings. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Kitty Pryde makes bad decisions with her dating life. Consistently.
Especially with guys named Peter.
Yes.
Constantly with guys named Peter.
Yes.
Very funny every time that it happens. Honestly, I love it so much. And I loved having you on, Tony. Thank you so much. If people want to check out what you got going on, what do you got going on?
Don't perceive me. But
great. Welcome to the club.
Like Zach said, I write for comicsxf.com and comiccon.com. And otherwise, don't perceive me.
Love that. Adam, what do you got going on?
Folks can always follow me on Twitter, if it works, at Arthur Stacy, and on Instagram at adam.rec. Never try and find Zach online. And Zach, what do we got going on next week?
Well, Adam, in a stunning turn of events from earlier today when
we made up our minds before this episode.
We made up our minds. That's not what we're doing next week. In fact, we are doing stories about everyone's favorite Welsh mutant, Pixie.
Oh, okay. Oh, we called an audible. I thought we were doing something
We didn't
else.
call an audible. I looked at the dates on the list again.
Great. Okay.
And I follow the list so hard.
I like it. So we're
talking about Pixie.
Pixie. All right.
I'm not even going to try a Welsh accent because, frankly, I wouldn't know where to start.
No, let's not.
It would offend someone in the United Kingdom.
Okay, yes, but hold on.
Yeah.
That's still in the acceptable realm. It'll be a fun time. We're all looking forward to it. But until then, folks, this has been Battle of the Atom. We hope you survived the experience.
Get it!